All right, so this is the Z3, so everybody can see it. It's beautiful. I got it for $4,500. I put about $900 into it to get it fresh to where I believe it's going to be reliable long term. And I think it's ready for the next 2 to 3 years. I don't think it's going to need anything unless I, you know, run out the tires or something. Real clean. I mean, I'm enjoying this so much more than a Miata, right? Because that was the car I was originally shopping for. And check out the interior on my Z3, man. It's just so clean and smooth, right? Everything works. The stereo works. The tweeters work. And listen to that exhaust note. It ain't an M3, but the exhaust note is still pretty sweet, especially compared to a Miata. This is a muscle car compared to a Miata, right? I don't know if you can kind of see how the body rolls. I felt a lot of body roll in that turn right there. You see that body roll? Holy cow. Hey everybody. I gotta go and drop off some packages to Amazon for some returns. So I thought I'd take the Z3. Can you hear my exhaust note? Or is the viscous fan too loud? So when you first start, the viscous fan kind of spins along with the motor. So it kind of drowns out the engine note. Some people remove the fan and they say it gains 3 to 5 horsepower. And I've gone back and forth about that because it gets to be over 100 degrees out here where I live. So that may not be a good idea. I may need 2 fans, both the auxiliary and the viscous fan. But I'll think about it this summer and I might remove it. It's actually kind of warm out. It's overcast, but it's warm. So maybe I didn't need the sweatshirt, but you never know with a convertible. Sometimes it's a little cooler than you think just because the wind is blowing. I really like this engine note on this straight 6. It sounds just right for a little cruiser. It's not too loud, not too quiet. The engine note's real nice. I was initially shopping for a Miata, and of course the engine note on a Miata is like nothing, right? Whereas the engine note on this little 2.5 liter inline 6 is just right for me. I actually really like it. I must be getting old because I don't really care about driving fast or tons of horsepower or anything. I'm just more here for the experience and the ride. Now, if you saw my previous videos, you know that I just had a bunch of work done on my Z3. Getting the transmission fluid and the motor mounts replaced made a huge difference. The motor mounts were basically collapsed in this car. And when I had them replaced, it made everything so much tighter in the front. Man, this is a yield, bro. Why are you going through like that? So I'm gonna hop on the freeway a little bit and go to this Amazon locker. I feel like $1 million driving this car. I really like it. There is a bit of body roll. Definitely is not a race car, and I want to say the shocks are definitely worn out with 190,000 miles on it. That would probably be my next mod. Maybe new shocks and a new clutch, because the clutch engagement's a little high for my taste. But still, at 190,000 miles, this car drives freaking awesome. The motor sounds like it's brand new. It revs up really smooth and silky. It's not struggling like a little 4-cylinder in a Miata would be, because I've owned a couple Miatas in my life and I always beat the crap out of them. I mean, I take good care of my cars, but a Miata is so gutless that, you know, I gotta rev it up to like 4,000 between shifts all the time. Whereas in the Z3, if I shift around 2,500, it's totally adequate amount of power. Now getting on the freeway, I'm just barely feathering the gas. I'm barely pushing on the gas pedal, and it's more than enough power. Oh. probably put about 600 to 700 miles on this car since I bought it, and it drives really nice. I got no complaints. I have 5,500 into it about from the purchase and all the maintenance that I've done on this car. And at $5,500, you can't have more fun than this. I mean, a Miata in the same condition would probably cost right around $5,000. And to be honest, fixing up a Z3 is not that hard. Everything's mechanical. There's barely any electrical to it. So, I mean, if you have a wrench and you can turn it, like, you can probably fix most of the stuff that'll go wrong with this car. That's what's great about it. Thanks again. And man, like, I just love driving this car. It's so much fun. This is the ideal, like, runaround car just to have around town. And, you know, if I need to stop at Walmart and pick up something, like, I would take this car, right? Just for a short little spin. And I get home and I find myself thinking, man, I wish I drove a little more. Like, I wish I went to the other Walmart, you know, a couple of miles away. And I'll shift into fourth. It's real smooth, right? And even when I shift into fourth, like, this motor just doesn't make that much power. So for me, it doesn't really up the excitement that much more. But I'm totally happy with just sitting in fifth gear and cruising at 60 miles an hour, because the motor makes enough torque as it is. So here I might switch it to fourth, but I don't even really need it. It doesn't make a big difference to me. So it's just a nice little cruiser. All right, let me see where I'm going now. I gotta make a left here. And I gotta make another left later on. But yeah, what's funny is, like, how timeless this Z3 is. A lot of people have asked me, like, how old is that car? Is it like 10 years old? And I'm like, no, man, it's 23 years old. This is a 2000. It was first sold in 1999. Before the turn of the millennium, you know, like, this car's 23 years old and it still looks and drives really nice with 190,000 miles on the clock. Everything works. The radio works, the clock works, AC works, heater works. There's nothing in this car that doesn't work. It's awesome. The only thing is this droopy glove box. Not a big fan of that droopy glove box, and I'll have to decide if I want to take this all apart and fix it. I do have the fix kit that the previous owner bought and gave me, but I'm afraid I'm gonna jack up the interior more by taking it apart, just because it's so old. But I'll probably drum up the courage and do it later on. But man, this tranny shifts so smooth. After we replaced the transmission fluid with Redline fluids, man, like, the shifts are not super short like a short shifter, but it's plenty short and sporty. It's really nice. Let's see this light change. Do you hear that exhaust note? It's just perfect. It's definitely not loud, but it's just a little something to let me know that it's there. Alright, let me make sure I know where I'm going. I gotta go 0.8 miles more and make a left. The shifts are actually pretty short in this car, and the revs match pretty quick. Initially, I thought maybe the flywheel was too heavy and maybe I'll want a lighter flywheel and upgrade the flywheel and the clutch at the same time. But I'm kind of used to it now. It's not super aggressive, but it's fast enough. It's not super slow. It's not fast. It's just somewhere in the middle. I think if I was 18 years old, I would definitely want something more sporty. Like, the 18-year-old version of me is thinking, what are you doing, man? This thing sucks. It's so slow. But the 39-year-old version of me says, you know, this is pretty fun. There's nothing wrong with this at all. Alright, so I'm almost at the Amazon fulfillment center. I've never been here before, so I didn't even know this building was here before. But man, how fun is this car? Alright, so I got a flashing yellow, so I can yield. Is this the locker? Package pickup and returns. Here we go. Alright guys, I'll be right back. Hopefully my GoPro doesn't get stolen. I don't think it will. Let's go. Alright, I'm back. Again, I love this engine note. Alright, let's go. Sure about this stop sign. You know, the funny thing is, I take my kids in this car, and I assume as little kids they would love it, being, you know, exposed to the outdoor air and being so small and all that stuff. But then the first question my son asks is, Dad, do you have car insurance? Because this is dangerous. I'm like, what do you mean it's dangerous? He goes, well, there's no roof. We could die in this car. And he goes, you know, I have more fun riding in mommy's RAV4. I'm like, RAV4? How could you want to ride in a RAV4, dude? This is so much more fun. He's like, nah, I don't feel safe in here. So maybe this is like the new generation of kids that they don't really care for convertibles or little fun, like, runaround cars like this. But shoot, I appreciate the hell out of it. It's fun. And he's like, you can't even fit four people in here. This car's too small. And I was like, yeah, it wasn't supposed to be big, son. Like, this is a cruiser, man. But yeah, my son doesn't get it. He says it's not that cool. I think it's awesome. I was a little disappointed in that because I was hoping he would share in my, like, midlife crisis here. But hey, it's like, at least I only spent $5,000 on my midlife crisis, right? I didn't dump a whole lot of money into this, right? It's just $5,500 total that I have in here. And as you can see, the car drives great, shifts smooth. There's nothing more I could ask for a little cruiser to go around town. See, when I take this hard turn, oh man. Did you feel the rear wheel slide a little bit? I mean, there isn't that much grip, and it rolls quite a bit, so that's kind of expected, right? But again, I'm not autocrossing this, I'm not racing this car, I'm just driving around town. There's no reason for me to be sliding around in this car. Maybe I'll stop by the outdoor place and walk around the car for you. Maybe that should be in the beginning of this video, huh? But yeah, just real sweet ride, man. Just really sweet. Really smooth. Man, I must be getting old if I'm talking like this, right? I'm definitely getting old. Alright, but let me pull over here. And I'll walk around the car for you so you can see it better. Alright, so this is the Z3. So everybody can see it. It's beautiful. I got it for $4,500. I put about $900 into it to get it fresh to where I believe it's going to be reliable long term. And I think it's ready for the next 2 to 3 years. I don't think it's going to need anything unless I, you know, run out the tires or something. Real clean. I mean, I'm enjoying this so much more than a Miata, right? Because that was the car I was originally shopping for. And check out the interior on my Z3, man. It's just so clean and smooth, right? Everything works. The stereo works. The tweeters work. And listen to that exhaust note. It ain't an M3, but the exhaust note is still pretty sweet, especially compared to a Miata. This is a muscle car compared to a Miata, right? So I really love it. Goes into reverse real easy. The only gear that's a little bit notchy is 5th gear, and I don't know why 5th gear is a little bit notchy, but I'm really splitting hairs here because gears 1 through 4 and reverse go in so easy on this tranny. It's like a brand new car. Like, I really can't tell that this car has a lot of miles on it as far as the shifter goes, except for 5th gear. It's a little bit notchy. But I mean, I'm really splitting hairs and complaining about really a non-issue because it does go in fine. It's just a little bit notchy. See, around town, I naturally end up shifting right around 2200 and 2500 RPM. And I still got plenty of torque. Let me go through the roundabout in town here. I don't know if you can kind of see how the body rolls. I felt a lot of body roll in that turn right there. But I mean, this isn't a race car, right? I wonder though, if I got some really nice shocks and springs and got a light flywheel and went all out on this car, would it still be the same lazy fun car? And I don't think it would be. I think I would have to pay attention a little more when I'm driving. It wouldn't be the same slow lazy car that it is today. Like right now on this roundabout, I took it real slow. See that body roll? Holy cow. These shocks are worn, dude. And it kind of oversteers just a tiny bit. I don't know if you could see that on the camera when I made that roundabout, but it's fine. Adequate and silky smooth. I love this car. It's fun. I appreciate it for what it is. Did you just see my wife's RAV4 Prime? My wife's picking up the kids right now. But yeah, I love this car. This Z3 is just really fun. Now, I'm not really going fast anywhere, but it's totally adequate, totally fun. I'm enjoying the hell out of this car. It's just really sweet. So I think if you go into a Z3 like mine, go into it knowing that it's not a racer. You're gonna drive it lazy like me. You're not going super aggressive. Then you'll find that this car is so enjoyable. It just depends on your expectations, right? So if I was still 18 and I was looking to drive like some crazy fast like M3, you know, or an M Roadster or something, this ain't gonna work, right? Because this car's gonna feel so slow to you. But if you're where I am in life and just want something to cruise around in, this is perfect. All right, well, that concludes our video. I hope you enjoyed the review, and I hope you got to join me on this ride and had a good time. Thanks.